Yeah, there we go. It's time to you've saved up all your money. You've decided, okay, I'm going to go to the airport. I'm going to learn how to fly, but who's going to teach me? Welcome to the Superpilotish channel. My name's Graham Wilson, and I will tell you how to choose an instructor in my basement. I'm the only instructor in the basement here, so I win. Yeah, so haha, bad joke. Okay, yeah, I was really thinking about what to talk about today, and I was just stumbling along on the Twitters this morning, and I was like, oh, someone asked. I saw someone that was looking into, hey, how do I choose a flight instructor? And I was like, wow, I haven't done a video on that yet, so here we go. Thanks for the suggestion, Twitter person. Yeah, so this is one thing that a lot of people don't know is that when you're going to a flight school, you have a bunch of money and you're the customer, and the customer is mostly right. So, I mean, you have, as a student at any reputable flight school, yeah, like you could talk to them and say, I have, I don't know who I want to fly with here. I saw this guy talking in his basement. He had a cap and a Hawaiian shirt, and he said I could just go fly with whoever I want. And you kind of can. So, hey, Rich. And yeah, don't pick the one with just the nicest business card. But yeah, you can kind of go in and like when I was the chief flight instructor where I used to work, there was a few other instructors that were working there with me, and this one really keen student came in one day, and like usually students don't do this, is they'll just say, "Okay, who's the new guy? Okay, I'm gonna go fly with the new guy." Yeah, something like that. They're available on Saturday. Okay, and then but this guy, he actually did some research on the interwebs there and found out, and most people don't know that, like before they start flying, that yeah, you can choose who you want to go flying with. Now the thing is, pilots are a pretty logical bunch that we don't really take things too personally if it's got to do with business or work or something like that. So as it turned out, this guy, I did his introductory flight. I think it was like a year before that, and he said, "I want to try flying with a few other instructors. I did my introductory flight with you. That was fun, but I'd kind of like to try flying with the other instructors to see which one I click with." Which is a good idea. I mean, he's going to be, if you're spending, you know, 10, 15, 20 grand on a license, depending on where you are, you better get your money's worth. So, anyways, at the end of it all, he decided not to fly with me. My heart was not broken. And actually, at the time, I had lots of paperwork I had to catch up on, anyways. So I was like, yeah, go flying with that guy, dude. No problem. And they were really two peas in a pod, those two, the instructor and the student. I could see why, they got along and did so well. And that was a very good instructor. And the pilot he ended up getting his license, and he's quite a good pilot. And so, yeah, I guess let's start making some notes on the whiteboard here. So this is something, if you're going to be learning how to fly, you might want to reference this or write it down or something like that. But and you'll see this everywhere on the internet. Is that, yeah? Go try a few out, and what you would do there is fly just 1 hour. You do maybe an introductory or discovery flight, whatever you want to call it, for your very first flight, and then you can find some other instructors, and it really won't make that much difference in your training if you switch from one instructor to the next for the first couple lessons there. Once you get closer to your first solo, you're going to want to be with one certain instructor, and then that's the best way to do it. So pick them before your first solo. Okay, we'll say try a few out. Try a few. That's if you can. I mean, there you go. How to choose your flight instructor. Try a few out. I recommend just a 1 hour flight and see which ones you get along with. Uh, p- uh, oh, hey, Shecky. Yeah, everybody's different. Generally, pilots like there's always I don't know. I guess in the range of personalities, pilots are kind of as far as ability, they're usually within this certain uh, general spectrum on the bell curve of performance or whatever you want to call that. So Eh, yeah, it's like, but there's odd times where there's someone like, for example, there might be somebody that they speaks really fast, and you're going to talk like this, and they're so excited about aviation, they're talking all the fast all the time like that. And if you're, and some people talk slow and like me, but yeah. So say if someone's talking really quickly, and maybe the student their English isn't first language, it might be what might need someone that can communicate a little bit slower. It doesn't mean that the person that's speaking quickly is bad, or it's just that dynamic won't quite work for them. Or and it's very, very rare, but it has happened. I have heard about it here and there that sometimes there's some guys that can kind of give out a little bit of a creepy vibe if they're teaching girls. So any of the girls out there that are learning from, the most instructors out there are men, but like I'd say probably 90, I forget what the statistics is, about 95% of commercial pilots are men. So you got to watch out for creepy guy vibes, and girls know all about creepy creepy guy vibes. If you get any creepy guy vibe at all, do not fly with that instructor. Okay, you don't want that. Okay, uh, in that case, to avoid the creepy guy vibe, is that a lot of times it would be like for the old guy that just doesn't care anymore, and it's kind of like I'll tell you a little story there. One of the guys that he was let's just say he's a very senior instructor, and when he was starting out learning how to fly, he was like 20 or something like that. And there was this old guy at the flying club where he worked at. And all these hot chicks were coming in, and they're flying with the old guy. And it was all the younger stud pilots were there, like, "Hey man, why are all these cute chicks flying with that old guy over there? What's he got that I don't? He's like fat and gray and stuff like that." I think the girls just didn't want the creepy guy vibe. So, anyways, and apparently this old guy, he, the girls at the time, that there weren't like cell phones around. So if you wanted to talk to your instructor, maybe you'd call him up at home. And apparently this old guy, his wife would pick up the phone and she'd be all ticked off because all these little chickies are calling him up all the time. But anyways, so uh, fast forward like another 30 years or so, and then the old guy was telling me where he was, or the instructor, now this 20-year-old instructor is like my age or a bit older actually. And he says, like, yeah, that used to be that old guy. Now I get all these girls that want to fly with me. Now I understand, something like that. So that was pretty funny. Yeah. And now that I'm a little older, yeah, girls wanted to fly with me too. No creepy guy vibes around here. So there we go. And yeah, that's rare. It's kind of fun to talk about, but it's extremely rare. But be careful. Okay, the next thing here is we're going to talk about the thing to look for, and I guess it kind of comes into what you're considering when you're trying a few instructors on for size. There we go, attitude. So what's the I guess that'd be attitude slash personality or something like that, where there are some instructors that are, God's gift to aviation, and they're the best of the best, and they fly ice cold, no mistakes, even though they do make mistakes, but they never admit that. And those guys are out there. And some people really click with somebody that's like maybe former, I don't know, say something like former Russian military or something like that, where you're supposed to hit your students and scream at them and stuff. you know, Apparently they used to do that back in the Cold War days. Maybe they still do. I don't know. But yeah, so someone can be really rah, 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 rough and tough. Maybe I don't know, swearing at you in the cockpit, but sometimes for some people they like to get beaten up, they like to get sworn at, they like to get their butts kicked. Like some students really like that. For me, I would I would happily kick their butt or swear at them if they needed it. Yeah, but that's a very personal kind of thing. You don't want to. You got to really know your student for that. But I mean, playing Mr. Nice Guy for some students, it just doesn't work. And they don't respect you if you're Mr. Nice Guy. So you got to toughen it up a bit. So I don't particularly like doing that, but I'm extremely good at putting on my clown face or my serious face or my drill instructor face if I need to. That's kind of you got to be a bit of a chameleon when you're a flight instructor. So, but yeah, and that's another thing there too about the attitude is that it does that instructor, have the ability to click with you and like to kind of go, okay, this is what this person's like. That comes with a little bit of time and experience. And so if you don't have an experienced instructor, then that can happen anyways, that you guys just get along great, probably will. But it's just natural. They don't have to try. It's like, oh yeah, we're like, we just get along. So anyways, that is that for the attitude. Okay, now here's another big one that a lot of people ignore. And and then so like oh, I guess I'll get to it later. Okay, the schedule. What's your schedule like? What's the availability of the instructor? And so it's like, yeah, let's just say you really get along with this one instructor. Fantastic. I want that guy to teach me, or like she's fun. Like I want her. She really knows what she's talking about. I want to fly with her. Then it's like, oh, but chances are they're like fully booked. They got all kinds of students everywhere, and they can maybe fit you in once every week or two. That is not ideal. Even though you might want to go flying with someone, unfortunately, the schedule just doesn't match up. It's if you're learning how to fly for the very first time, ideally, what you want to do is pack in as many flights together as you can. You'll have the best results that way. You won't forget as much in between lessons, and in the long run, it'll save you more money. So, what you want to do there is, it's okay. Maybe you had fun with them, but they're just not available. That's okay. There's probably someone else there that's fine. And if you can get in 2 or 3 flights a week with this other person this other instructor that's like, yeah, they're cool. Go for that. You're going to save yourself a lot more money. And here we go. Wrench has some really interesting comments here about also if you're flying in a really small airplane like a Cessna 150, don't fly with an obese instructor because it directly affects your comfort. Well, that's something too. That I mean, you could be like a really a big guy, or the girl, or the cockpit is that big, so maybe you'll be more comfortable if and you might even learn better if you're not squished into the side by a 300-pounder, and then that also affects your gas, how much gas you can take too. So good point there, Wrench. Yeah, so okay, now we're coming up to make sure that your instructor has perfect penmanship like me. Not exactly, but qualified. I just wanted to mention there that anybody that's a flight instructor, to be at that point, number one, you got to get your commercial pilot's license. Then you have to do further training to become a flight instructor. So by the time they're a flight instructor, they're pretty accomplished pilots, and they've passed multiple written tests and multiple flight tests to get to that standard to be able to teach you how to fly. So they're all they all meet the minimum qualifications, which are safe. Okay, so that's after that, it's all icing on the cake kind of thing. So if you try a few on for size, maybe get along with the attitude, get along with somebody. Okay, schedule. So I kind of wanted to mention this here when I was talking about the schedule, is that maybe okay, here's a brand new instructor here, but the schedule's wide open, and the thing is, and then they are qualified. So like that's pretty cool. And there's kind of a bit of a trade-off there. Well, as far as the outlooks on flying and the job, is that like say so when I was a brand new instructor, I'm all enthusiastic. I want to change the world. you know, like this is fun. I'm getting paid to do this. This is amazing. You're going in all happy into work all the time. And then it kind of goes on after the years where a little bit of the novelty wears off. You get a lot better at instructing over the years, but your enthusiasm kind of gets down to, well, doing my job, not like, well, I'm bouncing off the walls. The bouncing off the walls kind of runs out of energy, and you just go in and you do your job, and you do it as best you can. It's a fun job. It's a pretty good job. So, I mean, it's not, yeah, you're not moping around. Oh, I gotta go up in the airplane today. It sucks. Like that just doesn't happen. So, but yeah. So, what you could lack in maybe experience, you kind of make that up for enthusiasm for like a newer instructor. And yeah, some instructors are just I mean, I'm not the most energetic guy around, but there's some I mean, I put more energy into it at the beginning, I guess, and you kind of have to when you're starting off at a new job. You want to impress and do a good job. But anyways, so there we go. Don't worry about it if maybe you get a new instructor. They are qualified. They will be safe, and yeah, actually, that was kind of funny. There was what we used to do where we worked is like that just reminded me of something where there, yeah, we used to put up on the board. There was a whiteboard up there, and so anybody that did like their first solo, or they could just it would say like new licenses on there. So it would be so you'd put like somebody they just passed their private pilot license. So you'd say, okay, Graham Wilson, PPL. Okay, pilot license, private pilot license. Cool. Maybe someone got uh, they got their commercial license. So okay, Graham Wilson dash CPL. Okay, that's pretty cool. But what happened one time is that there was a new instructor that just got their instructor rating. So on the board it said new licenses, and then someone put the person's name up, but they didn't put instructor rating. So they were working there for like I don't know about a week or so, and someone came in to do a to do a scenic flight, and they said, "Oh, what's your name?" Blah blah blah, and I won't mention any names here. And then, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and then the customer or the person that's going to be hopping in the plane with this commercial pilot looks over at the board and it says like new licenses, and it's like, hey, is that you? So they thought, oh, this guy just got his license, and I'm going to go flying with him. Was that safe? So it was kind of funny. But after a little explanation, they had a fun flight, and I believe that instructor is now working at the airlines. So, and oh, hey, Adam. And what do we got here? Now, last one here. So because this is YouTube, you got to do 5 things for YouTube, 5 tips. So whatever, five's a good number, fits on one hand. So here we go. It's not okay. I'll just write it down and explain it. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. I'll even underline it because it's so important. Okay. So the fifth thing here, it doesn't really have to do with instructors so much as your training, is that the success is on you. Okay, as the student. As a flight instructor, it's very rewarding to see your students get their licenses and move on, maybe even into their career and working as a pilot. But That and a lot of the students, they say, "Oh, I couldn't have done it without my instructor," and it's like, well, you probably could have, but because the success is on you. So the amount of effort as a student that you put into your training, taking it seriously, the amount of straight hours of memorization that you have to do, that will directly correlate to how well you do and how well you perform as a pilot. So it's like you could there's like I said before, there's a range. Like everybody kind of falls into this kind of normal range, and whether it's instructors, students, there's always that normal range that people uh, put in there that they kind of fit into. So yeah, like whether you have like a really experienced instructor or not too experienced instructor, all that stuff can be. It's very inconsequential when it comes to the success being on you. You're the one that does all the work. So people say, "Oh, I couldn't have done it without you, Graham," and it's like, well. It's nice to hear, but you did all the work. I'm just sitting around here making sure you don't kill yourself. It's not a big deal. So here we go. Let's do a little bit of we'll do a little recap here and then pack her in. Okay, so if you are choosing your flight instructor, I'll do it over here. Okay, try a few out. Yep, just like I said, go into your flight school. And if your flight school doesn't let you do that, I would almost consider going to a different flight school if you have the choice. Like I said, most instructors are within that normal range. You'll probably be fine. You'll probably be fine as long as like if they assign you someone, it'll probably be fine. But I think you'd have a more enjoyable time, and maybe even a little cheaper time if you get along with somebody because they have the right attitude, someone that you click with, someone that you get along with. No creepy vibes for the girls there. Hands off, hands off the merchandise. Oh, hey, Dustin. And then, yeah, so the schedule, that's a big one there too. I wouldn't say these are even in order of importance. It's just five for YouTube. And then, yeah, so the schedule, does your schedule and their schedule work out? Hopefully, you get your flying packed into the shortest amount of time period. You don't fly 2 or 3 times a week. Once a week is, I would say, I would I would hesitate to say that once a week is even enough to learn how to fly. So maybe if you fly Saturday, Sunday, you can get that going, but and then you're going to get rained out or the weather won't cooperate. So there's that. So if you want a pretty available instructor that fits with your schedule, maybe you're on afternoon shift, they're on day shift, vice versa. Okay, and don't forget they are all qualified. No matter what instructor you get, they hit some minimum requirements, and so they will be safe. Okay, and last but not least, the success is on you. The amount of effort that you put into your flight training will determine how well you do. There's no getting around it. There's no easy cheat codes. You got to memorize that stuff. You got to do that stuff, and your instructor will help you out. Okay. Here we go. Let's do, yeah, I'll just go through here, see if there's any official questions. Lots of good comments popping in here, so that's all right. And I'm glad you guys popped in. Okay. Okay. Oh, Wrench is disagreeing with me here. Uh-oh. Here we go. How can you possibly disagree with that, the Super Pilotish channel? Well, let's see what Wrench has to say here. Okay, so Wrench tried to fly once a week on a budget, no pile of money first, just a continuous repeated expense like rent. Some people play golf. He flew airplanes. Okay, that is true. What do we got here? Okay. Well, Wrench, I'll bet you if you did it my way, it would have saved you some money. But then again, I'll bet Wrench also put in a whole lot of effort in between those weeks there too. So you can and I think I've done a few videos on it that even if you are flying once a week, you can kind of, if you're just chair flying, here I am sitting in my chair in my basement, and okay, I'm imagining what I'm doing, flying the plane. That helps out a lot, and it can save you like literally thousands of dollars doing that. So I bet you that's what you did, Wrench. But here we go. And I don't have a business card actually. I gotta I gotta make up a business card. It's like I'll be like, okay, super pilot. You want a business card, Wrench? Here you go. One business card. Dun dun dun. Super pilotish. Oh, and then we'll do at Gmail. There you go. That's my business card. You can tell I'm a real pro. So, anyways, what else we got here? That's kind of cool. Yeah, I thought about getting a business card because sometimes if I go down to the river or something, like I do like a on location kind of thing, people are always looking at me like they don't know what's going on, and I'm just kind of like, oh well, they're staring at me, and they don't know if I'm like some reporter because I look so much like a professional reporter, or what. And then like one of these days I got to get some business cards made up, and then like just kind of, hey, check out my show, because I could get some subscribers. That'd be cool. Like and subscribe, hey, all that stuff. Okay. Oh, and Adam Thomas. Adam also has some of the best advice I've ever heard from any student. Adam was my student, actually. He's popping in here. And yeah. Adam has this good advice because he knows a guy that knows a guy that knows a guy that like here in Canada, it is possible to do your flight test first before doing your written test to get your pilot's license. And Adam knows a guy who knows a guy that kept it right to the very end. And if you don't get the written test within 2 years, or is it 1 year? 2 years, I think it is. Then you got to do everything over again. So, or is it 1 year? I forget. Yeah, boy, all these regulations. I think it's 2 years. Anyways, don't 1 year. That's right. Okay, thanks, Adam. It's 1 year for. Yeah, for private pilot licenses, 1 year. I think for the ATPLs, it's 2 years. That's what I was thinking. So, anyways, yep, there we go. So, cool. All right, today is Monday. Yeah, we'll kind of shut her down here, and mm, 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 mm. Oh, okay. Wrench is giving some other good advice here. The So where they are, where Wrench is, they hand you a list with 12 instructors on it. You have to pick. You only know their business cards. Interesting. Okay, here's a super pilotish tip. If you see somebody with a business card like this, they're like totally awesome. So yeah, the ones that and probably the more military airplanes they put on it, the more super duper I love my flight simulator, kind of guys they are. So if you like your flight simulator and this guy's got like an F-16, he's probably good for you. So anyways, that's about it. So we're gonna shut her down. Today is Monday, so I'll be back on Wednesday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And thank you for watching. Bye.